Hey, what's up guys? Mike Patrick, and in this video I want to talk about something that's very important. This is going to be a very good video. Now, I'll start this video by asking a question. Now, how has societal norms constructed your mind and manipulated your thoughts in regards to what you expect your political leadership to be from a credibility standpoint? Okay? Now, this is going to spark some thought, okay? Should your political leadership be a millionaire, a billionaire? Should your political leadership be a college graduate necessarily? Should your political leadership live among you? Should they live separate from you, far off? Or should they be someone that's actually within your community? Now, I ask this question, guys, because I really want to spark thought and shed light on something that is not talked about, but is right there in front of our face if we take time to analyze it. And it's kind of really backwards how we've been operating for a long time now. Now, the thing about it, like I said, the way that we are socially constructed, we always seem to respect or put more value on things that appear to be superior to us. We give more respect. So for example, I'll use the black community as an example, as far as some things that people have shed light on in the past, okay? And it's a pretty common perception. It's old hat, in many regards it's evident. You notice how certain people amongst you, if it's people amongst you, you'll give them, a lot of times we give them less respect. We show less regard for certain people who is amongst us every day, that we deem to be like us. So in a lot of ways, we have a lot of self-hate. But when it's someone who doesn't necessarily look like us a lot of times, who may not live amongst us, who may not be amongst us, sometimes we tend to exalt these people, okay? And therefore, we tend to value them more. We look at them in a different light. And often that light is in a way that minimizes ourselves and those amongst us who are just like us. While, like I said, it catapults and puts other people on a pedestal. But like I said, it's something that's a social construct, and it's something that we don't take time to think about. It's just second nature at this point. But we really have to think about that mentality, okay? And if it's the best mentality to have. Now, okay, with that stuff out of the way, guys, you think about all your presidents, think about your political leadership. Just think about a lot of leadership, right? Most of these people have, in many regards, have nothing to do with who they are representing. Now, that seems backwards to me. Now, I understand it from a standpoint of, amongst yourself, you may see a lot of flaws, right? And so therefore, like I said, we can minimize people because we see the flaws amongst us. But like I said, when you don't see someone's flaws, then you have a tendency to only judge them and formulate an image based off of whatever image you are given of those people. So we begin to idolize people, right? And like I said, that's just something that I believe was designed that way a long time ago, right? and now it's just second nature now. But in reality, who you want working on your behalf is someone that genuinely is just like you, or somewhat like you, that can really understand your plight, truly understand your plight, not say, and it's evidence that they can understand your plight, right? So, for example, someone can be a billionaire president, but how many billionaires are citizens of this country? You know, like maybe 1% of our population are billionaires, but yet you'll have a billionaire representing the majority, when in reality, no matter how much that person tries to identify with you, act like they identify with you, or act like they're working on your behalf. And I'm not saying that that's not necessarily the case in all cases. Like, I can't touch on every point in a little YouTube video. There's many different prongs, okay? But I think you guys get where I'm going with this. Now, if it's a self-made billionaire, a so-called self-made billionaire, that you may have an argument to say, well, no, this person came from nothing, and now, you know, they can share my plight and they know where I'm coming from. But even with that said, after a while, when someone gets to a certain level of finances, especially if the longer they have been in a certain position financially, even if they do come from certain humble beginnings, they don't tend to be the same person. To be able, and this is not even some type of malicious way of thinking. It's just something that probably happens naturally. If you come from humble beginnings, but you've been a billionaire for the past 20 years of your life, it's just natural that you're probably going to morph into something different. All right. So, the thing is community leadership, political leadership at any level, whether it's local, statewide, presidential, nationwide, and it has to be approached. Leadership has to be approached from an angle, from a perspective, and from an understanding, an understanding of the majority that you are supposed to be serving. See, I think another thing is, I don't think we look at political leadership as servants as much as we look at them as authority at this point. And that's because maybe our government has shifted into something where it's more authoritative than it is serving. Okay? But governments are supposed to serve you, ideally, you know. And with that said, it would make more sense to me to always have humble political leadership, because then they can, and what I mean humble, I don't mean like a lowly individual as far as how they carry themselves, how they feel about themselves. I don't mean that. What I mean is, I think our leadership should always be taken care of, but at the same time humble, in a sense of, see, I think we even probably tried to do this with our presidency at the beginning. That's why, if you think about it, presidents don't, their actual salary is not that much money. Now, our presidents are always millionaires and billionaires and things like that, but it's usually inheritance or some other type of setup, which is where I'm trying to go with this too. But their actual presidential salary is never that much money, and it's probably meant to be that way from a technicality standpoint. Like, no, your leadership is humble. They don't make that much money there. So if they're taken care of, for example, so your president doesn't have to pay for anything, while in the White House, it's not like they're paying rent, right? It's not like they're paying electric bill, water bill, things of that nature. So really, what do you really need a whole lot of money for, if you think about it? You know, as long as you're taken care of, it keeps you humble and in a position to do for and serve those who you represent, and then those who you represent in turn take care of you, you know, and it keeps you genuine because you're in a position that you truly know and understand who you're representing, and to work on their behalf. But really, for example, how can we hold any leadership truly accountable when leadership doesn't need us for anything? If you think about it, like, if Donald Trump is not president tomorrow, he's still going to be a billionaire. He doesn't have to really be held accountable. If Obama lost presidency at some point, he still would have been a billionaire. I mean, or a millionaire, or he may be a billionaire. I don't know. But the thing is, he wouldn't. How much accountability for these people? You understand? And so the thing is, though, if you have humble leadership from in the regards of materialism and finances and things of that nature, they have even more incentive to stay sincere and genuine, because if you're not working on behalf of the people, then the people that's actually taking care of you do not have to take care of you once you are not serving the community. And your basic needs won't necessarily get met even if you're not serving on behalf of the community. But if you are, then you're taken care of. That just makes sense, right? But no president that I could think of, it would have mattered, put it that way, if they wasn't the president no more. It's like, okay, now I don't know where my next meal is coming from. Now I don't know where the next shirt on my back is going to come from. Makes sense? So we have to really, really take that in consideration, guys. Okay? And really think about. Now, I'm not saying people shouldn't be able to have nice things and things of that nature. That's in leadership. But what I'm saying is, you have to really, really question intent and motives behind a billionaire being your president, a millionaire, a multimillionaire being your president. And a lot of, like I said, because a lot of times we equate money, education, things of that nature. Like, oh, if I went to Harvard, or something like that, that qualifies me to run for president. But if you didn't go to Harvard, or if you only went to community college, then that doesn't qualify you. But yet, you may truly be an effective leader and one who's going to really help people and help the country, or the state or the city thrive, you know. But because you don't have certain credentials that really don't mean anything, you see what I mean? As far as what you need to do, like, yeah, if I need to be a heart surgeon, I need to have went to a school to be able to know I got certain studies and things of that nature to do that. And I'm not saying that in some cases that it's not beneficial and it doesn't help, but a lot of times, a lot of things that we deemed to be credible, with established credibility for certain things, is usually things that really aren't necessary, you know. So, for the sake of this, video is long enough, 13 minutes 37 seconds. This is one of those things. Most of my videos I can go on and on, but once in order to try to keep the video short, as I always say, I try to touch on certain points so people can get the idea. I try to do the best I can most of the time in a short frame, to try to get my point across in a short frame of time, especially considering that for the most part, 99% of the time, and as far as 99% of what I talk about is usually freestyle and improvisation. So, it's not like I'm sitting back reading a speech, you know what I mean? So, with all that said, sometimes your thoughts ain't as together as you want them to be. But at the same time, I think it does keep everything genuine and authentic. So, yeah, guys. So I think you know where I'm going with this. We got a question, our leadership, as far as not necessarily our leadership, but, our social construct, our mentality on who we think should be leadership and what should be brought to the table as far as choosing your leadership. Okay?